It is June 4th, 2025. And guess what? There's new Bigfoot footage out there. Plus, Louisiana is banning fake clouds, my new favorite state. This is Inverted World Live. Welcome back. This is Inverted World Live. I'm your host, Shane Cashman. We're very glad that you're here with us. I'm joined by Brandon. How are you?
I am chilling, brother. What's going on, podcasters?
Yeah, man. We're doing it. We got some good stuff lined up for today. It's just every day's got crazy news. And Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot knew we had the show going daily now. And they're like, they need some things to talk about. So he was like, I'm going to appear. And now we have footage we can talk about. But before we get to all that, I wanted to mention for those who are new to the show, this is a call-in show. We have a link to call in. It's down below in the chats and wherever you're watching, Rumble or YouTube. It's audio only. So if you have a story you want to share with us, you've seen a ghost, you've had some demonic stuff going on in your life, you've been abducted by the military. We've had those phone calls. Hit the link, call in. We're going to talk about it. And you can call in if you hear me say something you do or don't like, and we'll talk about that too. So yeah, and we'll take as many calls as we can up until about midnight. And then on top of that, we do also read super chats and Rumble rants. So if you send those, we'll get to those as well. And I got a new segment for the show. It's called Corrections and Follow-Ups. I have misspoke a few times, and my apologies. A big one was on episode 50. That was on, was that Friday or Sunday? I said that Tom Cruise was the first celebrity to have COVID. I was wrong. What I meant to say was it was Tom Cruise in a Tom Hanks skin mask that got COVID for the first time. But no, you guys might remember that Tom Hanks was the first celebrity to get COVID, and they made it such a big deal. I want to pull up that study I found. I thought this was interesting. I was like, I'll pull up the article to remind us all of the fear ritual they put us through. But then I came across this. This is from February 4th, 2021, and this is a research paper. Tom Hanks's COVID-19 diagnosis likely shaped behaviors and thoughts toward virus. This is from University Park, Pennsylvania. When actor Tom Hanks announced his COVID-19 diagnosis on March 11th, 2020, many Americans were still learning about the virus and its severity. According to new research, Hanks's announcement may have affected how some people understood the virus and their behavior toward its prevention. This is so funny to me because I think that was the whole point of the fear ritual. We got to get the celebrity, which celebrity we're going to pick, and we're going to sell it to the American people. And they're going to, that's, so many people started to really think this was something to fear because old Tom Hanks. So I am sorry that I misspoke and I said Tom Cruise. I think we were talking about Mission Impossible and CIA skin masks.
Yeah, we were talking.
Wrong Tom.
Yeah, I was basically saying that he would be my pick.
Right,
for who is
right,
impersonating
right,
Biden.
right.
I was actually saying, yeah, he's Biden. I was just like, if I wanted anybody to play Joe Biden in a mask, I would want Tom Cruise, because then he just, out of nowhere, where you think he's a feeble old man, and then he just up and starts kicking the hell out of everybody. That'd be amazing. That would be pretty cool.
That'd be amazing. Like that when we first meet Willy Wonka in the Gene Wilder version. I love that he comes out as like a feeble old man, and he's got the cane, and as he approaches the kids, he falls over. And everyone's like, oh, no. But he does that sweet little somersault and gets up and sticks the landing. Yeah. That's a great scene. That was actually Gene Wilder's addition to the script. He said he wanted to do that so you never trust a character at any point moving forward. Rest in peace to Gene Wilder. Great actor. But let's see if there's anything else in this article I want to share. Just under 90% of the people surveyed had heard about Hanks's social media posts saying he contracted the virus, and approximately half of that group reported it changed their attitudes and behaviors. It did nothing for me. Do you remember where you were when you found out Tom Hanks had COVID?
I completely forgot about it, honestly.
I remember it happening, but it didn't have like any profound effect on me.
I remember it happening, but I was just like, big deal. Like a bunch of people were getting it at the time, and I'm like, okay, that sucks, but
yeah,
I didn't hear anything after that. So
bound to happen. There was a meeting behind the scenes amongst Hollywood and people in the government being like, Tom Hanks is the perfect first celebrity to be trotted out as as patient zero in Hollywood. There is a growing body of research, this is a quote, about how celebrity behavior and social media posts can affect public health, Myrick said. This research was different in that we were able to launch our study really fast and collect survey data within a day of Hanks's posting about his diagnosis. And that's what's the most important thing I want everyone to take away from this. They're researching this because they want to use it against you again at some point. This is a control experiment on how we can instill fear in people, who they're going to use to do it. You guys can think of any number of celebrity they've used to push some sort of crazy narrative. So that's my spiel on Mr. Hanks and what happened with that. The other thing I failed to see, went right over my head yesterday, was that the video of the old man with the two black eyes in the occult museum with the demonic Annabelle doll was in fact Ed Warren. A few people hit me up. I didn't realize it was the guy who was associated with the doll and the movie, the whole story, him and his wife throughout ages. And a lot of people hit me up being like, total fraud, just a grifter selling this story. Other people saying he looked like that because he had actually been like fighting hellish entities for his whole life. So I don't know. I think his story was compelling, but it also seemed canned to me. What else did I have here? Oh, yeah, my favorite one. Can we pull up the representative who's looking for proof for the Biden robot stuff?
Yeah.
This one's good. This one's very good. This is like the hard-hitting news you guys are here for. We got someone down, I believe she's in Florida, and she's like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. So MAGA launches bonkers, okay, chill it with bonkers, with bonkers hunt to proves in quotes, of course, Biden is a robot clone. I mean, look at those pictures right there. Those are two different. One of those is not a human being. And it's the one that's a robot clone.
He actually looks like he has more hair as an older man.
I was thinking that the other day. Yeah, he probably, they could have, stitched in some corpse hair to him. Just like his corpse teeth that fell out during the debate. MAGA world is spiraling, it says, after President Donald Trump boosted a conspiracy theory claiming former President Joe Biden was executed in 2020 and replaced by a robotic clone. For those who don't remember, it was on a Truth Social post, and a lot of people did. If you dug a little past his repost, it was connected to a Babylon Bee article, so it was like a joke, and it could have been Trump just joking, but I think he's got key intel, and I think Trump knows what most of us suspect, that Joe Biden is just a network of robot clones. So I continue on this article. From CIA masks to a suspicious lack of veins, Trump's internet detectives are scouring every inch of Biden's body for signs of circuitry. I hope a lot of those people doing that right now are also audience in the show. Many of the sleuths, including Raven Harrison, a U.S. House candidate from Florida, believe they've found evidence that Biden's face is really a synthetic mask operated by a robot underneath. This is like the least surprising thing to me, honestly. I remember this. Can we play that? What are they going to show us here? So for those listening, we're seeing just like the throat, the turkey neck of an old Joe Biden, the folds of skin contracting and expanding. And there was one very thick line that the camera keeps zooming in on that is supposed to be the proof. And this is posted to Twitter by Raven Harrison for Congress.
Yeah, it looks like they're claiming that that's the seam.
Yeah.
Where the mask sits in. I mean, most of these things that I've seen are full overhead pullover.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they go down to like your chest.
Yeah, and
typically.
You can tuck them into your shirt and all that.
I mean, that to me just looks like old man,
yeah.
half 1 foot in the grave, loose skin situation. But and I think they would do a bit of a better job. But there are other images I remember of him throughout his administration where he had like a weird skin tag on his ear that was bizarre. Some people might remember the time he was questioned on the lawn out front of the White House, and someone lowered a boom mic a little too close to him, and his hand appeared to pass through the boom mic, which then caused the speculation was that he was actually in a green screen, like in front of a green screen. It was a weird video, and I forget where it is. That was an interesting one, but I don't know. What else is this? Is there any more proof? Oh, we got something else. Okay, actor wearing. Is this a Jim Carrey theory here? Actor playing Biden wearing a mask. Posted by D Patriot.
And he was a very conservative guy who was very, very.
Oh my gosh, that's a mask.
African American.
Okay.
Holy cow.
The skin does move weird there.
What? Okay, I want to do that again.
Let's look at that again. The skin does move weird.
When he runs his finger across his neck, he creates a divot that stays there. Let's run this one more time.
North Carolina. And he was a very conservative guy.
Right here?
He was very, very.
Oh my gosh, that's a mask.
Boom.
That's a mask. Yeah, the skin does stay there. So just to play devil's advocate for this theory, which I totally do believe, this guy, let's just say all the things they're saying, the official narrative. Let's buy into the official narrative that he is an old decaying man who's just riddled with disease, and he's pumped filled with pharmaceuticals. Those pills, those drugs could affect your skin for sure. But that was weird. That's a lot of weird skin staying in one place after he stretches it.
I mean,
with a scratch.
I'll let you know in like 30 or 40 years when I get to his age, because I'm going to be sitting there trying to make that happen, but I don't know that it's going to.
Just looking in the mirror like, how can I recreate this? That's weird. What else they got?
Trump reposted a claim that Biden is a robot. This is not a joke. This looks like it's just a guy talking about it.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a great Joe Biden. We all saw 7-foot tall resident Biden, and we know CIA skin masks are a real thing. And for those who tuned into what was episode 51, we went through skin masks, and we even watched some video from Jana Mendez, who was the CIA chief of disguise. And they were doing really good masks that could even trick the president at the time, H.W. Bush. She was wearing one in the Oval Office with him, and he didn't even know. So this one also could just be a man just hopped up on meth, because I believe they were probably injecting lots of meth into the ice cream they were force feeding this decaying man, or it's a skin mask. I mean, his eyes look weird, because now think about this Joe Biden face, which wasn't that far in time from the ball chin Joe Biden face.
If you remember what Jana was saying, she said that you could smile in the mask,
Yep.
but the one dead giveaway was one that they were turning green,
Right.
and two, that you couldn't hysterically laugh.
Right.
So if you broke out into a fit of laughter, you would give away your entire disguise.
Which is, I mean, I would have thought it would have gotten better masks by then, but he had so many different ones, so it could be different people playing him, different robots. You know, they got Optimus. They let Optimus go in there for a little bit. They got all these open AIs, got some, or Meta robots. You've got tall Biden robots. So for those who are just tuning in with us, and you're like, they're talking about Joe Biden again, and you didn't hear why we got down this rabbit hole once again. There's a lady running for Congress in Florida who's like, her platform is to now expose the truth that Joe Biden was a robot clone. And if I lived there, I'd vote for her. That was tall Joe Biden. We all remember that. I think that was when he went away for a little bit, maybe after having COVID. When is that posted? Well, that was posted recently because the robot clone.
June 1st,
yeah. That was because of what Trump said. But I believe that's when he came back and everyone was like, huh, he is really tall all of a sudden. This one says, check this one out. President Trump is 6'3". Bibi and old Joe Biden are 6 feet tall. This individual towering over Bibi is not Joe Biden. When people age, they get shorter. True. Or I just want to say, perhaps he's wearing heels. You know, politicians do that. We know DeSantis did it.
Big red pumps.
Big red pumps, yeah.
Nice.
Or he's got like cadaver bones they put in him. Another pic from July 2024. Fake Joe Biden looks to be 6'3", or 4 in this pic, towering over Bibi. This was another dead giveaway that they were using body doubles with masks. And look, there is a history of heads of state using body doubles. It's happened. The one that comes to mind right now is Abraham Lincoln used one when the Pinkertons, well, before they were actually an official group that were doing their investigations. What was his name? I forget the actual Pinkerton, but he uncovered an assassination attempt against Lincoln. And so he chose to do like a Lincoln body double to get around it, and obviously successful. So now we got more posts of people zooming into the very weird eyes. This one was always weird to me.
I could see the pocket there for sure.
That one's weird. But I'm just like, you'd think they do a better job, but maybe that just shows how little they think of us, you know? And what was the other? I had one other thing I wanted to follow up with before we move on. There was just more. We were talking yesterday about the doom economy that we're trapped in, and I meant to bring this up really quick. If you want to pull up that Doomsday simulation, and we'll tie this back how we started this whole segment with COVID, because maybe there's nothing to it, and maybe there's something to it. But scientists were recently running a Doomsday simulation. I feel like this is something they do all the time. Do you see that one I sent? Oh yeah. Scientists reveal how likely Doomsday scenario that would see Earth, the whole Earth, swallowed is how we could avoid. Okay, I read that wrong. Scientists reveal how likely Doomsday scenario that would see whole Earth swallowed is and how we could avoid it. Okay, so unlike yesterday's 3 comments, this one is trying to at least tell us we have some hope. So researchers from Durham University revealed what they found after carrying out 100,000 simulations of the potentially catastrophic event. Although there's more than enough doom and gloom to go around as it is, the article says, people can't help but wonder when the world's doomsday will come. There's a few different scenarios which have been proposed by experts, while Elon Musk has even thrown his hat into the ring to share his bleak prediction. And that's a hyperlink, and it will probably be to a story where he told Jesse Waters a few weeks ago that the sun will expand and totally destroy Earth. So I continue. And now scientists have put out one of their hypotheses about the annihilation of humankind to the test to see just how likely it really is. What are they saying down here? Essentially, the Andromeda Galaxy could be on course to collide with its closest neighbor, our beloved Milky Way. According to NASA, the pair are soaring towards one another at 300,000 miles per hour, and apparently this could spell big trouble for our planet. So what could happen if the galaxies collide? You want to scroll down just a little bit? Boffins have worried. Is that what is that? Boffins? Yeah. Man, these scientists have the most hilarious names. Have warned that a head-on collision could end life on Earth for good. But don't panic, as this is all at least 5 billion years away.
Oh, sweet.
Basically, if the Milky Way and Andromeda smash into one another, you'd have to believe in space and other galaxies to really buy into this theory. For those listening, it would lead to a grand merger between 2 behemoths, and together they would evolve into a huge elliptical galaxy, NASA explains. So this is just more like NASA doom porn. Is this connected to the study that recently happened? Do you see it in
Doomsday
here?
scenario study.
Do you mind Googling really quick? Scientists like a week or 2 ago predicted the exact date of the apocalypse. I don't know if you can find that or pull it up. It might be like scientists discover date world will end, which I think sounds as ridiculous, but it's just nonstop doom porn from these people who want to scare you constantly. And this is like, I think society is obviously at a weird, vulnerable place where everyone's buying into some apocalyptic scenario, and rightfully so, because the world is out of control. But I find it hilarious that they're running these studies, and the simulation thing is funny to me because it made me think of Event 201. Some of you guys might remember that. That was a study they did, like a simulation they ran right before COVID happened, and it was about what happens if a plague kind of shut down Earth. So this is from Vice. Scientists just predicted the exact date life on Earth will end. Oh man. So here's a fun little thought to ruin your sense of cosmic security. The article says, scientists have now predicted the approximate expiration date for complex life on Earth, and it's about 1 billion years from now. That's when the oxygen runs out. So now it's not other, it's not comets or anything like that. This is oxygen running out. A team of researchers at Toho University in Japan, using NASA planetary models and a supercomputer that ran 400,000 simulations, discovered that our planet's breathable atmosphere will collapse long before Earth itself is physically destroyed. I just don't know how why? The findings were published in Nature Geoscience in a paper cheerily titled The Future Lifespan of Earth's Oxygenated Atmosphere. Do they have anything else in here? Any compelling evidence here other than a simulation? Basically, the sun is aging, it says, and with that comes more heat. As it burns brighter, Earth's surface will warm. Water will evaporate, and the carbon cycle that supports photosynthesis will start to break down. So this is kind of going with what Elon's been saying about the sun swallowing Earth eventually, which I always find funny because one day he'll tweet that we have to leave Earth because the sun's going to kill us, and the very next day he'll say we need solar power. So, you know, it's all good. But those are my follow-ups and everything for people out there. Just take all this stuff with a grain of salt. I don't think the world's ending.
According to this, according to this right here, it says that they explained earlier the estimates gave life around 2 billion years, but newer models, which focus specifically on the atmospheric changes, cut that timeline in half. So we still have, according to this, 1 billion years. Which none of us will be here to see. So, you know. Well,
maybe the transhumanists will be, you know, if they get their way and they find a way to, you know, either upload their consciousness into their computers, into their supercomputers, or if they've got some sort of new technology in their brain and robot suits that can keep their hearts going forever and keep their skin from deteriorating. Maybe they'll be around to see it.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess we'll see. Big shout out to all of our homies coming over from Timcast IRL, and a big shout out to the Timcast crew. We love you guys. Thanks for hanging out as we venture into the unexplained.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Do we have any callers waiting to call in?
I got a couple people. Yeah, you want to take
one? Yeah, let's go to callers.
All right. So we are...
And then we'll do some Bigfoot after some calls.
Yeah, which we got a guy in here named Flatwoods Monster. So
Sick.
I think based off of what we're doing tonight, we're going to bring him in first. Let's see if he's here. Flatwoods Monster, you are live on Inverted World. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you, bud.
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's good.
What's up? How you doing?
Hold on. Let me mute the stream. Okay, good.
Thanks for joining us.
I have the same issue, man.
Yeah, no. So y'all are located in northeastern part of the Virginias, correct?
Yeah, yep. Kind of like the tri-state area.
Yeah. So the central part of West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've heard of Braxy, the Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah, I've heard about it for sure.
I know the exact spot where it landed.
Oh, let's hear it. Tell us everything.
So my great grandfather, who sadly passed away
Rest in peace.
20 years ago, he was actually one of the witnesses to Braxy.
Oh, what?
Yeah, no. From his house, it was a 145-yard walk up a mountain into a clearing area. If you look at Braxton County on the map aerial, you'll see a dead spot in Flatwoods, just due west of the elementary school, about 400 yards. And that is where Braxy landed.
Whoa. So is this something he told you? It was a story he talked about a lot?
Yeah, he talked. Every time I talked to him, he's like, don't go out in those mountains at night. Braxy's going to get you.
Wow. Can you walk us through his story?
So the first time I heard that, I was 6 years old, because I was like, oh, I'm going to go pick blackberries. It was about dusk. It's like, no, you can't go out in those woods. Those Braxy's going to get you, man.
Whoa.
Talked about the green eyes. Everyone reports it as red. He reported it as green. He's also from the U.S. military. He was one of the Army guys there.
Interesting. Don't people associate that with Mothman sometimes?
Yes, Mothman is more northwesterly of there, like closer towards where the Moonshine feud is.
Right. Yeah. Did he have like a fear of the woods after this? Was he kind of kidding with you, or is he being dead serious?
He was dead serious. He's like, I'm not leaving this house after the sun goes down.
Wow. Was he with other people when it happened?
He was one of the Army men that they got off the local military base to come look at it.
Oh, wow. Okay, I see what you're saying. So he was like involved because the military brought him into it, because he was Army.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He was one of those. And he, if I remember correctly, it's been, when I saw him in bed, like on his deathbed, he told me never share this with anyone, but truth has to get out there.
Yeah. He brought it up on his deathbed. That's how important this was.
Yeah. He's like, don't tell this with anyone, but there are extraterrestrials. They are human.
He said they're extraterrestrials, but they are human.
Yes. Like a previous version of us before the world died and reset itself.
So it's suggesting that these people left here at one point and then came back
to see how we're advancing.
Interesting.
Okay, so like this is an ancient breakaway civilization that, did he say he believed they went to space, or are they hiding somewhere else?
He never said space. He said in the atmosphere is where they live.
Ooh, that's a good distinction. So maybe more interdimensional.
I'm not going to put words in my dead grandfather's mouth, but I would assume interdimensional.
Yeah.
Or
atmosphere.
Interdimensional. Yeah, interdimensional.
Yeah, because atmosphere is a good distinction to make from, some people would just be like straight up space, but that's fascinating. Did he talk about how long he was at the scene and anything that happened afterwards? Like, did they have to come talk to him and be like, you can't repeat this to anyone or anything like that?
Yes, he was at the scene for 43 minutes. And afterwards, he got treated for radiation sickness.
What was that? You kind of cut out.
He got treated for radiation sickness.
Oh,
this
okay.
is pre-Manhattan.
Okay.
Wow.
All the current historical records say 1952. No, this was 1942 is when Braxy actually was shown.
That's interesting. Did he ever get any like weird illness that might have been associated with that?
Did he or me?
Did he?
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Did he?
Not that the doctors would tell us. Like, he was healthy one day, and then it was, we got to go to see your grandpa. He's on his deathbed.
Oh, wow. Wow. But he lived a long time, it seems like.
Yes, it was like almost mutagenic.
Interesting.
Like, yeah.
Did you ever meet anyone from his life back then that shared that story?
His wife. And I'm sitting here thinking if there's anyone I can say that would not disown me for this, for saying this. Because it's like a family secret.
Yeah, you're going through the Rolodex in your head.
Well, we appreciate you bringing it to light, brother. Definitely appreciate anybody who feels they have the responsibility to get this kind of stuff out there.
Yeah, no, I know my grandfather, he does not go out in the woods at night because of this. My uncle still hates the woods at night because of this, and they live in the same area. It's just, those woods are forbidden after dusk.
Did you get a sense that a lot of people in the area felt that way about the woods?
No, because I've been up there. I go there once every couple of years, and like whenever it becomes dusk, I get a personally demonic feeling that something otherworldly is there.
Yeah, it doesn't help that your grandfather had that crazy encounter either.
No, but my grandfather had that crazy encounter. I've had these, this is not somewhere I should be feeling since I was the age of 6.
Right. Yeah, there's something about the wilderness. It's like a Rorschach test on all the things in your mind that might scare you. And you tend to populate those images into the darkness. But I've had weird experiences in the woods. The woods are weird, man. That's why the Puritans were pretty wild with the woods, because they were terrified of the woods. They thought they were, filled with demons, and perhaps they were. That led to a lot of the paranoia around the Puritans and like Salem.
I would say the Puritans are closer to what's real than what we think is real. Yeah. The older I get and the more I read about them, I'm like, they might have been onto something. I'm not saying we should be hanging people. They weren't. No.
But But
agreed.
They
there
were
is evil in those woods out there.
For sure. And I've been to those woods up there too, and there is something up there. You know, I really do think that it's like, you know, we're gonna talk about Bigfoot later. That's another thing that's in the woods allegedly. You know, that people see up in the Northwest a lot and other places as well. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Did you ever have like an experience yourself?
Yeah, because I went to the Forbidden Bear Patch.
Oh boy, how'd that go?
I was throwing up for 3 days.
You were what?
I was vomiting for 3 days after I went there.
Really? How did that start? Was it something that happened immediately when you were there and you were vomiting there, or it like kind of stuck with you when you got home?
Like I was there, I felt an eerie sensation on me, like it was not godly. And then I walk away from there. As soon as I got out of that area, it was like, oh, I need to throw up. Like I need to force this evil out of my body.
Whoa. Was it, I hate to get too graphic for those listening, but I am curious. Was it the throw up of stuff you ate, or was it a weird color?
It was black and red and white.
I only asked that because in Twin Peaks, a lot of the people who are possessed throw up. I'm forgetting the name of the weird bile. There's a name for it. But that's weird. And that lasted for 3 days. How frequently was it happening?
It was about every 45 minutes to every hour and a half, randomly in that time frame of throwing up. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's got a great name too.
Yeah, it has to deal with seances and ghosts.
Yeah, damn. I can't think of it. Was it painful? Was it like really like when you're sick? Like 3 days, that's a long time to be doing that, especially with something bizarre.
Like I've had food poisoning. I'd rather have food poisoning than go through that again.
So what do you think that was?
My body tried to expel evil from the area.
Right. Wow. Because it's also like, I don't know, maybe there's something there. You know, it's still in the land.
Yeah. No, if you have any questions about it, you can hit me up on Rumble or whatever, and I can show you the exact spot. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for calling in. That was compelling, man. Appreciate that. Yeah. No. Go to the next caller. Yeah. Yeah. Unless you have anything else you want to share. No, just stay out of the woods on the northwest side of Flatwoods, West Virginia, if you know what's good for you. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Thanks for calling in, man. The word is Garmonbosia. That's what I was trying to think of from Twin Peaks. Can you pull up a picture of the Flatlands monster, or like the artist renditions that they got? Garmonbosia.
We want the one from Wiki here?
Yeah, let's try Wiki. It might be the only one they've got. I mean, there's probably a ton of blogs about. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot he looks like this. That's right. This is why what the Mothman was from more northern parts, I believe, northern parts of West Virginia, but it sort of has a similar appearance. The glowing eyes and like this giant like bulbous head. The Mothman is an interesting one. I didn't realize when I moved down here how big cryptids were going to be. Like I knew the Mothman. I didn't know about Flatlands monster at all. But there's a lot of people down here with Bigfoot decals and Bigfoot statues in the yard.
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of that too.
It's no joke. We
got some of that in Illinois too, actually.
That's
Bigfoot
for Bigfoot
statues and stuff.
Yeah,
out by the suburbs.
It's incredible. It's incredible. We actually had a Bigfoot call into the show a few months ago. There was a viral Bigfoot video, and a lot of people thought it was real, but it was like so obviously fake. They're trying to go viral, and they did. It worked, and I got the guy to call in the Sasquatch suit. I forget, that was like maybe early last summer, but yeah, my favorite, actually, maybe you can pull this up for me. My favorite cryptid in West Virginia is the Snallygaster. Have you heard of this one?
Snallygaster.
Yeah, Snallygaster.
Man, this is
Is it pulling up
The
anything?
thing kind of looks like a chimera.
Yeah. And it flies.
All these. Okay, so
And it picks up kids.
There's
and flies away with them.
All right, I'm just gonna.
This was a real people were genuinely upset with this. It was from like the Maryland, West Virginia area, and maybe let's see what Legends of America says. For centuries, a large winged beast known as a Snallygaster is said to have terrified the people of Frederick County, Maryland. The dragon-like beast is described as a half reptile and half bird living deep in South Mountains caves. The mysterious creature is said to swoop silently down from the sky, stealing farm animals and children from the unsuspecting farm folk. Some say it's real. The area was settled by German immigrants beginning in the 1730s who called the creature a Schnellergeist. That's great, meaning quick spirit in German. The earliest folklore mixes the half-bird features with the nightmarish features of demons and ghouls. Can we make that picture bigger?
We can try.
That little. I love this image. So it's got like tentacles coming out of its mouth. These giant claws. Are those tentacles, right? Is that what you say?
Yeah, so if you can see, I'm going to see if I can make this bigger here.
Yeah,
Look down at its feet. It's holding a child.
Yes, it is.
So that's to give you the scale of how big this monster was thought to be.
And I'm going to say something that's going to sound like I made it up, and maybe we can find some corroborating evidence. But this got to be such a concern that literally Teddy Roosevelt said he was going to hunt this thing. Teddy Roosevelt, known for hunting. He went to Africa, killed a bunch of animals, brought them back. He filled the Museum of Natural History in Manhattan with them. He was like, I'm going to go get the Snallygaster. He did not. As far as I know. As far as I honestly, I feel bad because he might have.
Spoiler alert, he did not.
You know what? I take that back. He might have. If anyone could have, it would have been Teddy.
I mean, if he actually killed this thing, you think he would have talked about it publicly? I mean, that's a pretty big win as a presidential.
Yeah, I think it was post-presidency.
Hunting trophy.
And he was just like, I got to save the kids. And but maybe after he did, I'm going to believe now that he killed it. And he believed that it was better to tell people that it never existed, rather than to tell people he's the hero who took care of it. You know, like a noble effort to not scare. You know, if you gotta tell these people in the 1900s that the Snallygaster's flying around, then what else is flying around? I mean, I'm sure back then a lot more people believed in demons, so it wasn't probably a stretch for some.
Well, it's like presidents all want the credit for killing things, don't they? You know,
And
like,
the Snallygaster is one of them.
like I would want the credit if I came out and killed this thing, with an elephant gun, because I'd like to assume that that's what Teddy would have used, is just a big fat elephant gun.
For sure, yeah. And imagine that, like the old photos, like a daguerreotype of him with it hanging behind him, like those old great white sharks, the sharks that they've got hanging behind him.
Yeah, or it's just a giant carpet in the Oval Office.
Yep. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Just like he did with the bear, I've been to Teddy's house, like at Saginaw? Not Saginaw. I'm spacing on the name of it, up in Long Island, but it's a beautiful house, and Sagamore Hill, and he's got a lot of his bears.
I don't know why I was thinking that he was there for some reason, and I was just like, wait, you were at Teddy's house?
Okay, well, I said it like that because I was, in my mind, I technically was there with him. I spent like a few weeks shadowing a guy who spends a living as Teddy Roosevelt. And so this guy was legit. He sounds like him, looks like him, same size, same glasses.
You're feeding the Joe Biden theory right there, man.
I didn't even think of that.
That's an actor, man.
I didn't even think of that. Thank you.
That's nuts.
Thank you. This dude, and I spent the time with him. Like he would redo the trail that Teddy took when he was up in the mountains. He was at the Lake Tier of the Clouds, which is where the Hudson River starts on top of this mountain in New York. And that's where he got the news that McKinley was shot and that he was going to have to be president. So he took this crazy trip down the mountains to this really cool cabin by the river. Like there's parts of the Hudson River that you can just jump across up there. By me, where I grew up in New York, the river's really wide. But so I just kind of shadowed him being Teddy. So yeah, in my mind, I'm like, I was with Teddy looking at real Teddy's deathbed. Like they still have the deathbed in the house. I was with Teddy looking at real Teddy's death mask, which they have at the house, which is awesome. So yeah, I was I was there. Yeah. When he died, they made like a mold for over his face that they have. Like I have a replica of the Napoleon one, which is really sick. But a lot of people had death masks back in the days, like a white. You can look up any death mask. They're cool to look at.
Man.
Yeah, they're awesome. So it was just like on display. So it was crazy to be there with the guy who, I think that guy legit thinks he's Teddy. his life, he goes places and he's not dressed like Teddy, and people think he's Teddy. I've seen it happen. It's insane. Same mustache and everything.
All right, guys, I'm going to bring this up.
There it is. There it is. Look at that thing. It's beautiful. They made a few, I believe, but like one of the OGs was in his house. Yeah, Teddy was a wild dude. So this is the death mask of the man that right here on Inverted World Live, we're telling you, we believe this is the man that hunted and killed the Snallygaster.
Rip. Rip Teddy and the Snallygaster.
Yeah, for real. For real. Yeah.
Probably buried it with him.
Yeah, there is a pet cemetery at Sagamore Hill with all his wild animals. Because he turned the White House into a bit of a zoo. And there's a lot of reports from like other leaders from other countries coming to visit him. And he's literally climbing out of the windows of the White House with his kids, and like dogs and like random animals are roaming the property. Wild dude. Should we go to another caller?
Yeah, I actually, I got a guy I wanted to bring in. Real quick, shout out to everybody hanging out. If you're just joining us, if you came over from Timcast, welcome. And we are talking about all kinds of crazy stuff right now. We're going to go to another caller who I think wants to get into Bigfoot.
All right.
But don't forget, like, subscribe, share the show with all your friends. We're stoked to be here for our first week on Rumble. So thanks for hanging out. Let's bring in Revisiting History. Hey, you're on Inverted World Live. What's going on, man?
Hey.
Hey there.
Let's go.
Let's do it. So what are we talking about?
Well, I mean, I got tons of stuff to talk about. I mean, like, so I'm from the Southwest. I'm from South Colorado. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
And Tim Gass brought me here, but you guys are better. No offense to Tim.
Appreciate you being here.
I lived in San Juan County for a really, really long time.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, growing up, told me stories of skinwalkers. And normally I wouldn't talk about that because it's taboo. You don't say skinwalker. My parents saw a skinwalker out in the apple orchard, Kirby's Orchard, which is shutting down, unfortunately. And it was a man with a deer head.
Whoa.
Now, on my way out to Shiprock, which is the head of the Navajo Nation, I'm from Bloomfield. We were driving probably 50 to 100 miles out there to do a wrestling tournament. And the actual skinwalker, well, I'm sorry, a wolf-like creature that was larger than 6-7 feet was running across the side of the bus at about 50, 60 miles per hour.
What time of day was this?
Yeah, go ahead.
What time of day was this?
Yeah, it's fast. I mean, a school bus going that fast. It not only was it a wolf, but it was running on two legs and had a larger structure. So it was fairly large.
And was this at night or during the day?
I'm sorry, say again?
Was this at night or during the day?
Yeah, so the skinwalker, I mean, we have lots of stories of skinwalkers around here. My thing is that the last guy you guys had on, I feel like he was kind of dragging knuckles trying to get through it. Also, we have the Dulce base. We have a Aztec crash that happened, allegedly UFOs. I'm trying to get back to the comments that you guys had because you guys were discussing some pretty good stuff earlier that I really think is important.
Was it about the Snallygaster?
I'm sorry?
Was it about the Snallygaster?
Say that again?
The Snallygaster, was that what it was? Might have to turn your volume up a little bit, bud.
We were talking about different cryptids. That caller was talking about the Flatlands monster.
Oh, no, it wasn't about the Flatlands monster. It was about the Bigfoot.
Okay. Cool.
So around my area, it's common knowledge. It's not even like myth that Bigfoots take rivers. And we are south of Colorado, and the Colorado Trail runs all the way up to Denver from Durango. I apologize for forgetting. And the Bigfoot have been traveling allegedly. Now, do I believe in this stuff? You can believe in this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
They travel down the river systems and actually live along that area because there's a primal amount of food and there's a primal amount of water. Now, where I worked at, this place called Enterprise Products, it's an oil field business. There was a area of barbed wire that had been actually curled over, and they had taken a cast.
Mm.
And the cast was not like fingerprints or palms or anything like that. The cast was fairly large and had discernible footprints and toes. So whether these things exist or not in my county, I don't know, because I'm a historian. But we have evidence that there may be Bigfoot. There may be Native American medicine men that have gone rogue. There may be mountain lions. We just discovered a turkey wandering around. These are smaller things that lead to the larger conclusion that I think that whether we're talking about the East Coast or the West Coast or Canada, these things, I think they do exist.
There's something
even
out
as
there.
a historian.
I'm sorry. I was just saying there's something out there for sure. You know, when it comes to the, if we can go back real quick, I want to ask you why it was taboo for the skinwalker stuff. Is it because people don't want to talk about something like that existing?
Yeah. So the local Native American population, it's very serious. It's not something that's to be taken lightly.
Right.
These are medicine men who have taken their knowledge and attributed it to evil. And we're talking about transformation of individuals. You can look at Twilight as a bad example.
Right.
The wolves that are coming there and the sparkling vampires, horrible example, but in principle, from what I saw, could be correct. And then there's been the stories of the deer people. There's been stories of mass kidnappings of Native American women specifically on the reservation.
Oh yeah. Those stories are insane. I mean, there's just so
they're
many
insane,
missing.
and they don't get investigated, and they don't have a reason.
Yeah, I saw a great movie about it. It's not like a paranormal movie. It's more like true crime, but I think it was called Cold River. It was written by the guy who did Yellowstone before Yellowstone went to trash. But that movie is really good. And it kind of goes into that. And like the amount of people who go missing on the reservations is nuts.
And the War Lodge does a great job at doing stuff on the East Coast. I just don't think the West Coast is important to modern history as it should be.
Yeah.
But like I said, things like those creatures that I don't really want to mention again because of the taboo. I've seen things that were convincing as a historian who doesn't believe it. My parents have seen things growing up in this area that shouldn't exist.
Can you talk about those?
Yeah. So at the apple orchard at Kirby's, they were making out, man, and like I said, a man with the full body of a man, and he wasn't just a man, he was coarse, and he had a head with a deer and antlers, and to me, I'm thinking, okay, at this age, well, that's maybe the dude just stuck on a wall mount. But whenever we were on our trip to Kirtland, from Kirtland to Shiprock, we saw something fairly large and I have people that can attest to this. Looked like a large wolf or a coyote running directly next to it on the bus, going 55, 60 miles per hour. We're on a highway. So,
yeah, that's crazy. So everyone saw that, and was everyone freaking out while that's happening?
Well, between Colorado and New Mexico, I think there's something happening between the mountainous area with the trees and the rivers.
What do you mean? Can you expand on that?
That's what was described to me when I first started my security job. And I thought it was a joke. They're like, yeah, you might find some weird stuff out here. I'm like, okay, whatever. And whenever I was out there with my flashlight, I mean, the fence was bent over, completely bent, barbed wire. Yeah. And it's probably 10 feet tall. So that means that something above my height, by significant margins, had taken that wire and bent it over.
And you said they took a cast of those prints?
They have the cast. Enterprise Products, I do not.
Do you ever hear any updates on that?
I'm sorry, say again?
Did you ever hear any updates on the cast? Like, did they find anything or?
I around here, we don't do a lot of like thorough research and stuff. It's like we take the cast, we move on. There has been significant sightings of other creatures. We have elk, which we shouldn't have. We have Colorado wolves, shouldn't have. We have snapping turtles, which we shouldn't have.
They hurt. I've been bit by those.
That kind of alludes to other creatures in the area being active.
What do you make when people who are skeptical of anything like seeing a Bigfoot or like this wolf man, and they say, oh, it's like, you know, your imagination is getting away with you, you're scared, and you're misinterpreting something. Like, you know, you hear people say they saw the Bigfoot, and other people say, well, maybe it was just a bear that was walking on its hind legs.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bigfoot is a bear.
Yeah.
But what I saw and what my mother and father saw at the same time is maybe not Bigfoot, but something clearly different.
And you said you're a historian?
I'm sorry.
You said you're a historian?
It's in the San Juan County of New Mexico, southwest.
Oh, you said you were a historian. Is that correct?
I am a historian. Correct.
Okay.
In your research in the area you live in, there's a lot of these types of stories.
More recently, there's weird stuff. There's always been stories back to even the 1800s, 1700s, but the stories are starting to conglomerate as people have more cameras, they have more trail cams, they're writing more reports. We're starting to get a more conclusive idea of what's going on in the area, and we're not really sure what it is.
Seems to be the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, like bobcats, for instance. We have a school here called the Bobcats, and we recently found tracks from bobcats. So the area, and they release wolves within 100 miles of the Colorado border, and they're starting to go without the borders and within that area. I mean, 100 miles is a day travel, and with these wolves traveling, I wouldn't be surprised if there's other wildlife moving in the area. We saw deer in the person's backyard today.
Yeah. I mean, growing up in the woods, I've seen a lot of weird things. Most of them I understood them, and some of them I only understood what they were afterwards. But they it can be scary in the dark, and my mind has played tricks on me for sure. I've had a wolf chase me after after taking some deer out of the woods that we were hunting, and that was fun. But in the moment, and I was fairly younger then, it felt like it was a monster. I mean, it kind of was, but it was just a wolf. But you hear more of this. You said this stuff is happening more and more lately?
It's being recorded more commonly. And I think I think there's elements that don't want some of this information out.
What do you mean?
There's people who don't want to talk about it. There's people who don't want to discuss it.
And would these be people who know about it and don't want it out, or people who think it's taboo?
Correct. If you know somebody who's a skinwalker, you're not going to talk about it.
Gotcha.
You're not going to disclose their names. You're not going to dox them.
Right.
They're going to live their life, and you're not going to be harmed.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of stories like this out there. I haven't experienced that kind of thing, but I reference this quite a bit. But like someone like Billy Corgan from the Pumpkins, he has said it a few times. He's seen someone shape shift before his very eyes, and he says it dead serious. And he has refused to say who it was. I think he said it would be someone that everyone would know. But yeah, that's a wild one.
No, I mean, there you go. I mean, seeing some. I have not seen that, but that's the record behind it, right? So, shape-shifting, creating humanity out of different animals, becoming half of one or another, extremely common, and as somebody who is so close to where I am, it can be concerning. I know there's nights where my wife's looked out the window and saw a deer and wondered if it was a deer. It's just part of living where we live, and it's a beautiful place, but we've got some more.
I love it. I love hearing about it. I really appreciate you calling in.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Incredible. I guess before we get to the next caller, we should do a little Sasquatch.
Yeah, we should get into it.
You want to pull up the look at the Daily Mail video first.
And AK, if you're watching, we'll get to you in just a minute. Just hang on.
Yep.
Hang tight, brother. Yeah, let's see. Let me get this pulled up.
Yeah,
here.
the callers are so much fun. I love it. I love you guys calling in. It's amazing. And we're looking forward to get to more of you guys tonight. We got some time. But I saw this Bigfoot story. And I'll be honest, growing up, I wasn't a big person to Bigfoot. However, I did not like the idea of Bigfoot. Harry and the Hendersons really upset me as a kid. I was like, this is a terrifying creature.
I'm not going to lie. I totally cried when they slapped him in the face as a kid because I was just like, why would you slap him like that? That was it was the worst.
It's scary. And I used to think like one of my earliest chores as a young boy was to take the trash from the old farmhouse to the dumpster in the dark after dinner. And I was like, man, Harry from Harry and the Hendersons is hiding behind this dumpster. I thought about Bigfoot a lot, but I never really considered it. Really, I guess I just believed in it without ever like questioning it any deeper. But I saw this coming up today. It was yesterday or today. This new Daily Mail article with new footage of Bigfoot. What do we got?
So you want to lead with the video here, or you want to check out the article?
Let's check out the article real quick. I'll see what they have to say. A mysterious figure was captured roaming the woods in Colorado, sparking theories that the elusive Bigfoot has finally been found. A whitewater rafting crew with the Colorado River Expedition, so that's great PR for these people, was traveling down the upper Colorado River on May 24th when they pulled ashore for a break. Logan Kirk, the lead guide, told DailyMail.com that he and about 12 others had stopped for lunch when they spotted the creature roughly 500 yards away. All right, let's play that video.
I'm not sure what that one is.
Yeah, I think it's this top one.
We're going to go back up to this.
This might be the safe one. They're always like this.
Let's see, I'll blow this up. There we go.
The music is not helping people.
No, it's really not.
The music is not helping. Who is doing the Daily Mail music? You got to make this more ominous if he wants to believe it. So for those who are just listening, we are seeing a hairy figure in a grainy video. If you can believe it, it's a grainy video, kind of peeking out from behind the trees along the river there. Are you sold on that? You think that was Bigfoot?
I'm not fully convinced on that one. My problem stems from the fact that you've got a camera set up in an area 500 yards away filming this thing, and then you've got what is supposed to be this Bigfoot character, but he's just...
Yeah, he's doing that. He's like chucking and
what
jiving.
the hell? He's not gonna look at you. Like, I mean, he might see you, but you know, this is a wild animal. Wild animals are generally very territorial, and they don't really want to mess with people. Like, you're gonna find even most of the more ferocious animals are gonna stop and be a little more apprehensive in approaching you, unless they're looking for food or something like that. So, in my opinion,
this just takes away from the real. Like, I think there's something out there, but these hoaxes take it away. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten AI Bigfoot yet. I'm sure like that at least has gotten viral, but that's going to happen soon for a lot of this stuff. UFOs, Bigfoot, Snallygaster. We're going to get AI versions of all of it, and it'll all be true. We don't have to do the TMZ video because there was a lady talking about TMZ and she was like saying it was not real, but we also don't think it's real.
Well, here I want to go to this because this is where they want to. Bigfoot sighting in Monroe Woods deemed credible by tracking group. So it was a bear. Right? It was a bear. It was a gorilla. It was Bigfoot ? A Monroe father and son claim they saw Sasquatch, and a national Sasquatch believing organization believes them. Big news.
A national Sasquatch believing organization believes them.
Yeah, say that three times fast.
They better. And this is a different one though, right?
Yeah, this is a different article, just claiming that this was credible, from what I can tell.
From a few weeks ago.
May 18th, it looks like.
But this is in Ohio, so it's not even the Colorado one.
Oh, this is a completely different sighting.
This is actually a different one altogether. Wait, go up real quick. The Henrys. Who are the Henrys here? Okay, they're the family involved with this. They heard rustling in a tree and then a loud thud on the ground, said the group. A big, heavy animal headed toward them in the brush until it was intercepted by their dog. What's this picture they're showing us here?
This is, I mean, that doesn't look real at all. It looks like it's carved out of wood or something.
Or sick mask.
Yeah. Let's see. August 18th, 2019, photo shows Bigfoot mask on display at Expedition. Bigfoot, the Sasquatch Museum in Cherry Log, Georgia.
And then if you want to go to the Portland one I pulled up, the Native Americans talking about Sasquatch, I thought this would tie into what the last caller was talking about too, because it's like, you know, all this cultural appropriation going on with Sasquatch. These people want to make sure you know the OG people to see the Sasquatch. So I think a lot of Indians and different tribes had different.
Is this the TMZ video?
No. I think it was Portland something.
Portland Museum?
Yeah. Yep. Portland Museum presents Sasquatch through indigenous cultural lens. And this is also a recent article. If you didn't get a chance to visit the High Desert Museum's Seeing Sasquatch exhibition in Bend, a version of it is now on display in Portland. The World Forestry Center's new exhibition, Sasquatch Ancestral Guardians, features stories and art from native perspectives on the creature known in modern pop culture by the name Bigfoot. It was created in collaboration with the High Desert Museum, which hosted a similar exhibition last year. Indigenous peoples have long been in relationship with and shared stories about sacred forest protectors. That is true. Often called Sasquatch and Bigfoot, reads a description from the exhibit. The works in this exhibition are made by indigenous artists and honor generations of spiritual practices, storytelling, and tradition. Leave your preconceived notions behind and immerse yourself, not in the question of if Sasquatch exists, but rather, how are we existing with and honoring this non-human other? So, it's coded in a lot of like weirdo leftist language, but I do like that the old lore of Sasquatch dates back. I mean, it's ancient in this country, and I think like the first like recorded Western encounter with Bigfoot was like 1924 or around that time, and then there's been others throughout. And then I think it was in the 60s. If you want to pull up the OG video, everyone knows.
We have the original video.
The Patterson video, which I think looks better than the other one we just saw.
I think it does too.
This one holds up.
It's nuts. October 20th, 1967. If any of you were around back then and remember when this went live. We're going to bring it up here for you and run it through. And there you see our guy. He just gave you a look, wasn't satisfied, and now he's out of here.
This is a great video. Like, this is just timeless.
That is the video that sparked everything.
And people say that, I think it was Patterson, was like maybe a bit of a fraudster. And someone else came forward saying that they were the person in the suit. But other people said you can't replicate this as a human, the way it walks. Everyone. That's why I call the internet like a buffet, a reality buffet. Because anything you want to be true, you can just go and find to be true. Any blog will tell you. It'll give you it'll confirm whatever bias you have, whether it's Sasquatch or Trump or Biden, whatever. But that video does look better to me than the other one we just saw from Colorado.
Which is unbelievable.
All these years later.
It's unbelievable that I think that video is better than the one that we just saw.
It's like looking at Kubrick movies. They still look good.
Now, and this is the same scenario. It's a camera seemingly placed on a tripod, not moving, that just happens to be capturing the area where this creature is walking through nonchalantly. And of course, halfway through the video, he gives a little.
It's great. I mean, the decals on all the cars are based on that move. Mm-hmm. Right.
That's the one.
It's incredible.
If he played for the NBA logo would be.
That's right.
The shoulder turn,
It's incredible. I just think, if it's fake, the people who made that video had a much better imagination.
No, they knew what they were doing entirely.
And it was on a 16 millimeter, which, some of the theories would be like, well, that's why they used that. It's just grainy. It's going to make it look like that. But that's what they had.
And honestly, too, it makes me wonder if, it was like a bunch of Nat Geo guys, that were out actually filming, and they were just like, yeah, we got some downtime. What do you guys want to do? And it's like, you want to put on the monkey suit and walk in the forest?
Yeah.
Let's
do it. Like when people say maybe you saw a bear on his hind legs, totally plausible. I'm not talking about that video, but that's what you hear a lot. I've talked to a lot of hunters, and they've seen and or heard things that they can't explain. And then the counter from some people is it was a bear on its hind legs. I feel like for the most part, especially if you're a hunter who knows the woods well, you can differentiate between a bear on its hind legs and some other weird creature walking on its hind legs. But that's just me. I do know fear can warp our perception for sure. But bears walk differently on their hind legs.
Well, yeah, and also, the whole daytime, nighttime thing also comes into play.
Yeah.
Because your eyes play tricks on you at night.
Yep. Yeah, and also that video we just saw was enhanced a bunch. There was that weird thing happening around.
Yeah.
It was enhanced some, which.
Yeah, that was the enhanced video to try to kind of show a little bit more.
Which is what
it looked like without the blur.
That always happens, the Zapruder film that he shot of JFK being shot has gone through so many different iterations over the years that it looks so different now than how it looked when it was first released. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think who was that. I just watched that recently.
The one recently that shows the guy's duck in the car, and then it shows the bullet actually go through his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I saw that a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like, oh.
But if you go back and look, the first time the public ever saw that footage, maybe we should pull this up really quick before we go to the next caller. Look up Geraldo Rivera Zapruder film. I think he was the first person to share it with the American public. It'd probably been out a little bit beforehand, but this is its national TV debut. And just look how different it looks when this is.
This is him on the JFK conspiracy.
Is it like an old talk show? They're sitting down.
It's hard to say. This one I'm looking at right now was posted on March 23rd, 25. So I'm trying to see. There's one here from December 15th, 2020. But
the one is from the 70s, early 70s, and it'll look like an old talk show video. Maybe it's like Geraldo Rivera JFK assassination debut or something like that. I think that's how the title was. But it's just so interesting to think about. At some point, we're going to go down this rabbit hole too. And I'd like to have Rep Burleson back, who I just did a show with him on Tim Pool's Culture War show with Tony Merkel, and Rep Burleson is on the JFK assassination committee, and they're getting a lot of new information, and they're trying to pull out a lot of stuff that we have not seen yet. So I've been down that rabbit hole a bit lately, and then watching all the different iterations of this video.
Was it Good Night America?
Maybe, yeah. It should look old, probably from the 70s, and there's probably two people sitting across from him.
Hang on, I want to show you guys what the screenshot is showing me when I look this up here. It is, hang on, this is not it. I got it on the wrong one. Hang on, let me grab this really quick. Good. This is hilarious, though. This is absolutely hilarious. It is Geraldo Rivera in all of his mane and glory, just flexing a rifle here.
This is the show. I don't know if that's from the same episode, but this is the show where it was debuted. Look at that. I want that on a shirt.
It says that this was from the show that he debuted, the assassination.
Let's see if we can just find that. It's so short.
Let me see if this is actually a video here.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. You're gonna have to. I guess we'll have to scrub through it. But if memory serves,
Wide World Special.
I love these graphics. We should start the show like that.
This is Dealey Plaza in Dallas.
Man.
Look at this.
On the 22nd day of November, 1963, the President of the United States, 46-year-old John Fitzgerald Kennedy, was riding in an open limousine that was leading a motorcade heading down Elm Street, going in that direction. Sitting in the back seat alongside the President was the First Lady, Jacqueline Kennedy. Sitting in the front seat of the same open car was the then Governor of Texas, John Connally. To his left, Mrs. Connally. To her left, a Secret Service man. To his left, the driver, another Secret Service man. As they came down the street in the open car, they waved to the crowds on both sides of Elm. But then when they reached approximately that point, a shot rang out.
We had been with the President and Mrs. Kennedy through the tour. It had been such a wonderful tour. And when we arrived in Dallas and the long motorcade, the people couldn't have been friendlier. The crowds couldn't have been more wonderful, more generous.
At some point through the show, they're sitting down in the studio. You can find
I just
that.
had such a good feeling about the way they had received.
Yeah, he makes his guests. Yeah.
Is this it?
He makes his guests narrate
Tape of our last program
video.
and the film of the execution of the President of the United States.
It's like such a horrific moment, and then he's
I'm
like,
telling you right
narrate
straight
for
out
me.
that if you are at all sensitive, if you're at all queasy, then don't watch this film. Just put on the late night movie because this is very heavy. It's the film shot by the Dallas dress manufacturer Abraham Zapruder, and it's the execution of President Kennedy. And Bob and Dick, would you please narrate what we're seeing as we
What an
show
insane thing to do. I don't know why that's crazy.
This is commercial footage leading into Dealey Plaza. This is the car on Main Street.
So this film was taken by actual newsmen. This was spliced together with the Abraham Zapruder film.
Yes.
This is so
All right,
grainy.
so this is the beginning of the motorcade.
Okay, what you're seeing now is in slow motion so that you can grasp what is happening. This is a film taken by Marie Muchmore that leads into the Zapruder film. It's for time continuity. The President is waving to the crowd here.
And Jacqueline Kennedy, of course, is sitting alongside him in the open car.
Right. This is from Orville Nix's film. This is originally 8mm footage, and they're heading now toward Elm Street. They're on Houston Street now. They're going to make a left-hand turn. It's on the corner where they're going to make the turn there that the book depository was. Now, this is the Zapruder film.
Okay, so the cars are coming along now into Dealey Plaza.
Yes, these are the lead motorcycles of the motorcade.
All right, now with the President and Mrs. Kennedy is also Governor Connally.
Right. Now, before he goes behind the sign, the President is waving to the crowd. When he comes out from behind the sign, he is shot. Then Governor Connally is shot.
He's already been hit.
He's already been hit.
And now?
And at the bottom of the screen, the headshot.
That's the shot that blew off his head. It's the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in the movies.
Now, the Warren Commission said that all of the shots were fired from behind by Lee Harvey Oswald, a lone assassin, firing at the President. And as you can see, clearly, the head is thrown violently backwards, completely consistent with a shot from the front, right.
Yeah.
Now, this is an extreme blow-up
this out of there.
Just the
But
President
they do, yeah.
from the film.
Like, my goodness. What a crazy thing to think about. I guess, his guests were probably prompted beforehand, being like, you narrate it because there's no audio. But such an insane video. And it's just interesting to me how, like, these very blurry videos have just permeated through American culture and the world. Obviously, this on a much higher and different level, but both are like these weird, iconic moments of horror in this country, and then to think about how like this has been, it's been enhanced so much from this moment that there's like way better footage today. And
yeah, the one that I saw was pretty well done.
It looks like a real, like what we would see today almost.
Yeah.
Because they got AI cleaning it up and all these different things, and then it's like, how do you trust that? Like, how you can't be using that to actually like find evidence. I think
no,
because like
it's been manipulated and doctored
so much. You can't pull. What is the reason of doing it other than like you want to show the public something that looks better? But the Rittenhouse trial, one of the most interesting things about it was a photo they had that they were zooming in on, and then the debate was about, it was like on a stop sign, I think, to see what he was doing with his gun. The debate was like, the more you zoom in, the more like it will just automatically generate what it thinks should be there. So you can't even trust that image. So it's kind of like how I feel about looking at these newer enhanced versions of all these types of videos. But I want to do a longer, we'll do one of these days, we'll do an episode on the JFK thing. I have like a specific angle.
I'd love to do a deep dive on that one of
we'll
these
do it
episodes.
soon.
That would be really cool.
There's some congressional hearings that I would like to like be between callers and stuff, like watch, because they are fascinating. And there's so many, but there's some really, really interesting and like kind of sinister parts. So should we go another caller?
Yeah, let's see who we got in here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring on AK.
Oh, sick!
Because
I know who this is.
I've had him waiting for a little bit, but I want to get him in here, so we're gonna drag him on in.
If this is the AK, I think it is. This is a former guest and a good friend. AK, who's got some crazy stories. I highly recommend after this episode, go back and find the episode with AK. Watch it be the different AK. I'm pretty sure it's this AK.
Kamara, you
That's
are
him.
on Inverted World Live. Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Sick.
Welcome to the program, brother.
Yeah, man. I know, Shane, me and you were texting last night, this morning, something like that.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, if I can call in, I'll try. But yeah, I didn't have to drive tonight, so I was like, yep, I'm gonna pull up and watch the show. It's been great.
Awesome.
But yeah, man. I guess where I kind of wanted to start, I know we talked a little bit about some of the different things, based off of my episode with you. But
yeah,
I grew up 10 miles from a reservation. So I grew up in Devil's Lake, North Dakota. And so we had Spirit Lake Reservation. And in regards to like Bigfoot, we had lore of, what they called the little people. I know that there's like an actual like Lakota name. I never learned what it was, but everyone just, again, on the res, they call them the little people. And like quite, like honestly, literally, the people that live out on the res swear that these little creatures are just like mischievous elves, basically, on the reservation. And so like there's a bunch of people that I know personally, they're like, yep, I see them all the time. And most of them are just kind of messing around with stuff. They're not, malintent or anything like that. But I have a theory. Okay.
Let's hear it.
So, on my episode, I talked about my belief is that there's ultimately, one main source of power, which is God, but that he has enabled the devil to basically be in dominion of evil. And so I believe as a way to be able to, I guess, in a certain way, keep us honest, he empowers Satan. And so there's only two sources of power that I believe everything comes from. And so when it's cryptids or whatever, I believe that it's either a godly, creation of good, or it's a malicious creation. And so I personally think that in Native American culture, in indigenous culture, they worship or they honor all of these spirits. And to me, I think that they are, I know this is culturally insensitive. I believe they're all demonic.
Right.
That's my honest interpretation, is that whether you're talking about indigenous people in North America, South America, Africa, Asia, I think all of it's the same. Like if you are trying to divine your source of prayer, communion, spirituality that doesn't come from God directly, and you have like spirits that live in, rocks and in the woods, I think that is actually anti-Christian, anti-God.
Well, yeah.
That's just my personal kind of possession. But when it comes to like skinwalkers and stuff like that, I actually think that these are their actual entities. Like I think they can take a corporeal form or they can take a physical form. And me being so close to the res, we would always go out there and party because the BIA would come, they'd bust the party. And if you weren't indigenous, they would just be like, get off of the res and leave your booze or whatever.
Right.
So we used to party there all the time. And people would swear by all of these wild things that would happen. And there was like a Sasquatch that was in the area that people swore was running around and doing all types of stuff. And again, there's all these just like different spirits and creatures that in indigenous lore, they would say like, you know, this is what our culture is. And I just think that it all comes from like that malevolent place because I don't hear good stories. Like I don't hear like, yeah, you know, Sasquatch came and, you know, he played patty cake and fixed my roof. It's always like these terrifying, horrifying stories that cause a lot of fear and anxiety in people. And to me, that's kind of a tell. It's a pretty dead giveaway. But I just wanted to say that when I hear people try and say like, oh, well, the indigenous culture, you know, we can't name these skinwalkers. To me, bro, that's demonic, man.
Right. Like you're saying,
that's what it feels like to me.
You're saying call it out because it's evil. And then like, according to the, you know, Old Testament, these are all false idols, right? And it could be these different spirits in different tribes, or it could be, you could be talking about like Greek mythology, right? And all their different gods that they would worship.
Yeah, no, I think all of that, like, I think it's all a genesis. Now, of course, I'm Christian, so I'm biased.
Right.
But what my experience has been, if I want to try and be objective for a minute, is that all these stories have either a banality where it's like nothing good or bad happens from these creatures, entities, gods, whatever, or it's just like punishment and evil and malevolence and like playing tricks. And to me, a trick is not a positive thing. It's like it's deceptive, right? It's
right
versus things that come from God, which I've experienced. You know, I've experienced the power of God. I've experienced angelic presence, and it's this total warmth that happens, that occurs. One time I was at this conference when I was a teenager, and on my show I kind of told you that I had this moment where I was very angry at God. And so I went to go and try and corrupt a bunch of Christians and ended up going to this Bible camp in Devil's Lake. And basically God had his hand and he intervened. And I just felt like this presence of the Holy Spirit. And so later on in that year, I went to this conference and there was a girl there that was possessed, like literally possessed by a demon.
Right. Yeah.
And like physically, she had a darkness to her. I could feel her dark energy. And during this, it was basically like Assemblies of God, like youth ministry conference. Like the person that was leading was like, everyone put your hands on this young woman. She is suffering. And she literally threw grown men off of her. This is like a small girl. And we all laid hands and we prayed on her. And I had a chance to talk with her later that night. She didn't remember anything, man. And during that same conference, I felt the warmth of just like, it felt like there was like 50 hands laying hands on me. And I opened my eyes and no one was touching me. I was by myself. And it was just like this total peace and calmness. So all to say that I've experienced demonic entities, like I said, on my show, my episode, and I've experienced God in his presence. And there's a very big difference. So what I wanted to talk about though, is I had my first sleep paralysis moment not too long after the episode that you and I did.
Yeah, that's crazy. Tell us about that.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I drive overnight. And so kind of like last night's episode, you're talking about like truck drivers have the greatest stories and see all types of stuff. And I've been driving overnights about a year and a half. And I usually drive like 2 to 4 nights a week. I drive 500 miles. I start at 9 p.m. I usually don't get home until 5 a.m. And, you know, I haven't seen really anything too wild. Like I hit a raccoon, I hit a deer. That sucked.
They explode.
They do.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
One time though, I was kind of tired, and if I need to catch a few Z's, I'll pull over at a rest area, like a rest stop, and, you know, I'll lean my seat back, lock my doors, have my car going or whatever. And, as I was sleeping and I was like trying to wake up, you know, that moment where you're, you know, just starting to become conscious, as I was trying to awake, I couldn't wake up. Like I knew that I was sleeping and I could not awaken. It felt like, you know, again, what everyone describes as sleep paralysis. Like I couldn't move and it felt like something heavy was on my chest. But in this moment, I felt like I was outside of my body and I saw a dark figure standing in front of my car, right? And this dark figure was like trying to like kind of motion towards me and trying to talk to me. But like I felt like, again, I was like outside of my body, but right in my ear, this creature, figure, whatever, entity was telling me, and this is weird, telling me, do you want a slice of pizza? And I kept on hearing this other voice saying, don't accept the pizza. It was the weirdest thing ever, right?
Whoa.
But I could not wake up. And so, as I said on my episode, I believe that whenever you encounter demonic entities, if you plead the name of Jesus Christ, it like dissipates it right away. And so in my dream state coming into like full consciousness, I kept on saying, I plead the blood of Jesus, plead the blood of Jesus. And like, as I was finally able to wake up, like I felt myself talking as I was waking up. And it was the weirdest feeling, man. But I was like trying to wake up. I knew that I was asleep. And so like, I just woke up and I was like, that was so weird. Now here's the thing. This was a week, not even a full week before my younger sister passed away from an accidental drug overdose. And I don't know if there's any connection to that, but it was before, not after.
Wow.
And man, it was just a weird experience. I don't know what it means.
Did it linger? Were you thinking about this a lot after it happened, or did it something you forgot about?
Yeah, well, I did think about it a lot. Now this just happened like 2-3 months ago,
right.
4 months ago. After I did your episode, and
I'm sorry,
it was weird because my sister passed away, and I have now rededicated my faith. Like, I'm going to church. I'm praying every day. It helped me process her grief because I was so distraught, and I had guilt and all these different things. And by kind of reestablishing my faith, it's like it's given me so much peace to be able to handle and process life. And it's like I pray every day. I read the Bible. Amazing. I praise God every day for everything that I have. Even the experience of losing my sister to a drug overdose, which is tragic and horrifying, has been able to bring so much good and light to it. But yeah, it's just wild because I really haven't had a whole lot of supernatural experiences in the last few years. And then all of a sudden I come on your show talking about it, thinking about it. And now I started to have a few more of these experiences. And now that I'm kind of back in, I feel really confident in it. I don't have like a fear towards it. But I think, as I said on my episode, there is a thinning of the veil that occurs. And when you just pay attention, you start to notice things all the time, everywhere. And that's just kind 100%. Of my piece. But yeah, man, I thank you for having me on the show. If there's anything you want to ask.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. You said you saw the dark figure in this like sleep state. What can you describe what the other voice sounded like and like where that felt like it came from?
Yeah, so it was weird. So it's like this dark figure was in front of my car. And it was like a typical, when people describe like a shadowy figure. It looked like it was a human, right? But I couldn't make out any facial features. And the voice was just like a low voice. And it was, again, it said, do you want a slice of pizza? It was the weirdest thing. I know it's like, what the heck does that even mean? I don't know what that means. And then another voice, which is like, I don't know if it was God or angelic, was like, don't accept the slice of pizza. So I said nothing. I just started to say, like, I plead the blood of Jesus, because I felt like a panicky fear thing, which is what I felt when I've experienced demonic entities. So there's been, like I said on my episode, like I've fully awake, walking around, fully conscious, have experienced demonic entities that have physically held me, that have tried to talk to me, and things like that when I was younger. That haven't happened in quite a while, thankfully. The only experience that I've had in the last like 5 years, I was telling a guy about this story. We're at a podcast studio actually, and all of a sudden after I mentioned it, he was like, "Bro, I got these chills," and we just heard like a huge loud like slam, 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 and I was like, "All right, man, I'm pleading the blood of Jesus. This is super weird." And he's like, "What was that?" And I'm like, "Dude, I have no idea. It's like an empty basement studio of like a public access television. We're the only two people in the studio. No one else is in the building." And it's just like, yeah, man, I'm out this piece, you know, like.
Wow. That's crazy, dude. Man, that's wild. That's so wild. I really appreciate you calling in. I was like expecting when you would call in, I'm like, we're going to hear an engine running or something. So I'm glad you got to have a chill call in.
Yeah, man. No, I have like my, whatever. I got a microphone. I've got, OBS running and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Incredible, man. Well, yeah, your episode blew my mind. I totally want everyone else to go watch that one later. And you got anything you want to shout out? Let everyone know.
Yeah, man. I mean, follow me on X. It was awesome being on Timcast IRL. 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Sucked that Tim wasn't there. He was doing Bill Maher's show.
That's right.
But shout out to Phil Abonte, super dope.
Yep.
Shout out to Brett Dasovic. Shout out to Serge. Shout out to Raymond Stanley Jr. Super dope. I know you and I didn't get to connect when I was out there, but yeah, man. Next time I come on, maybe we can work it out that I can be on this show.
Did I actually
right after doing Timcast?
Did I hang out with you on Green Room that night, or was I not there either?
Yeah, you weren't there either.
Okay.
I did the Green Room. I can't remember the dude with the long hair and glasses that's like Hispanic looking. I don't know how to describe him. I can't remember his name.
I don't even know who that is.
I think he's talking about Chuck.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think so.
Nice.
Oh, he's gonna love that.
Yeah.
He's gonna love that.
That's hilarious.
I'll tell him that tomorrow.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in. We'll definitely have to have you back.
All right, man. Keep it weird. Keep rocking. I love the new time. I love the way that everything is set up. And make sure that if you guys are watching this stream, man, there's like 9,600 people watching. Hit the follow button. Hit the like button. Let's grow this show. This thing is going to absolutely destroy Coast to Coast, George Nori, Art Bell. Big shoes to fill, but Shane, You got it in you, brother.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Have a good night, brother.
Thanks for hanging out, man.
Peace. Later, Brandon.
I always forget to say like and subscribe. I'm very bad at that. I'm learning. Brandon's way better at it.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Coast to Coast is what's up. I still listen to some old Art Bell videos on YouTube. There's just like a million. There's so many. And there are so many good stories he's got. He was a great character. Do you have other callers?
We got a couple more people hanging out, and we have to get to, at some point, the Louisiana banning fake clouds thing.
Yeah, we'll save that for the end. I'm gonna make sure we try to get as many callers as possible.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, let's go to Michael Morsiglio, if I'm saying that correctly. Let me see if I can get.
Thank you guys for waiting around for the call-ins. It's amazing. And just so you guys know, because I've been accused of being on my phone before, I'm on my notebook taking notes while I'm talking to you guys. I don't want you to think I'm texting.
Is this okay? So I meant to bring in Michael, but I think I screwed up and somehow I got Matt in here. Matt, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Thanks for having me on. How y'all doing?
Good, man. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having it. So I got some ghost stories, man.
Perfect.
So I have moved into this duplex with my wife been together about 3 years at the time. My wife's a total non-believer in everything at the time. And we had been there about 2 or 3 weeks when I took a picture of my oldest daughter. And if you remember the movie The Sixth Sense, in the picture, it appeared as if there was something in front of her that skewed the way that she looked. And it was very, very odd. And every time I looked at that picture, it just gave me chills. Well, skip forward about 6 months, and my wife and I are watching a movie in our living room. And I had my oldest 2 daughters half the time. So they had gone back to their moms the day before, and we always tidied up their room and cleaned up everything in their bedroom for them to come back in a few days. And we're watching a movie, and we hear this noise in that back room, their bedroom. And in that bedroom, when we walk back there, in the very middle of the room, dead center, was a toy mixing bowl. And my daughter loved to cook, and she still does love to cook. But that toy was running with the accessories set up around the toy.
Whoa.
And it was the craziest thing. And my wife had never experienced anything like that before. I had earlier on in my life in a couple different instances. But that's when the real fun started at that duplex.
Oh boy.
And so we would, every time we would clean up that room, we would come back, and it was about maybe 1 out of every 3 or 4 times where the toys would be clearly put out. and played with or moved in one way or another in that room. And I just laughed it off. I knew what it was. And so this little spirit entity, whatever it was a real trickster and loved to play games. And we had a regular lock and a deadbolt on the front door. And that deadbolt could not fall or lock on its own unnaturally. Well, every time I would leave the house and leave the front door unlocked because we were in a safe neighborhood and I didn't really care. I was poor. I didn't have much to steal.
Yep.
The trickster would lock the door on us to the point where it was such a joke that when I was moving out of that duplex, I was telling my buddy Doug, who was helping me move, all these stories about all the weird stuff that happened. And he thought I was just yanking his chain. I was just giving him shit and just trying to get a rise out of him.
Right.
And so what ended up happening was I bet him lunch that we would leave the door unlocked. And then by the time we went down, by the time we came back from running a load to the new house, that front door would be locked. And I bet him lunch on it. And he laughed and said, "You were buying me lunch anyways." And so we go out, move all the stuff, get lunch. And then we're coming back and he's all big headed. We had a couple beers at lunch and he knew he was just going to walk right through that front door. And as he goes to walk in through that front door, he slams his forehead into the locked door. And I just stood back and laughed at him. And he turned pale white and he said, "I got to leave." And I said, "I understand."
Wow. Wow. Did you ever do any history on the house?
I didn't get any history on the house. I heard from the neighbors that there had been a child there that had been very sick. But they couldn't confirm whether the child had passed in the home or whatever the case may be. But it seemed like the child had lived there from birth until the child passed away, unfortunately, at an early age.
Oh, man. Did it continue throughout your whole time there?
Oh, yeah. No, the entire time I was there. Very weird things. Again, always with the toys. That's why I think it was a child, because when I took that first picture with my oldest daughter and had that weird skewed image, that happened a couple more times, but only in images of children, never with images of adults or friends hanging out at party or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
The kid
it was really weird.
Wants to hang around other kids and play with the toys. It's really sad.
Definitely.
It's really sad.
And you could feel it too. I mean, you could definitely sense that there was something there. And it wasn't evil. It wasn't wicked. And it was kind of almost protective. Like I said, it locked the front door from me.
Just looking out for you.
Like it knew something bad could happen if the door wasn't locked. Wow. Even though I wouldn't, concerned about anything like that.
Right. That's wild. Yeah, I'd be curious if there was if you ever find that history. I did that in my house. I grew up in. There was a ghost in that house for sure.
I think I had one too, back in our old house in Chicago. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty creepy.
Like a kid, you think? Or
no. Well, honestly, I don't know. So getting back to your brother, you think the locked door thing had something to do with what happened to this person who died?
I really don't know. And again, I can't confirm that the child or the person passed away there, just that there was a very sick child there that had been there before us. And, you always just felt that kind of sense of unease. You would get chills randomly every now and then. And it was just, an old cheap duplex in Austin, Texas. But, it's one of those things. And throughout my life, I have had experiences like this. It all first started with my best friend, Shannon. I lived down the street from her. And when I first started hanging out with her frequently, she warned me. She said, "Hey, just by the way, the spirits of my family, they watch over us and they stay around us. And you'll probably experience something weird when you hang out here." And sure enough, we had been there. I'd been friends with her probably about a year. And every day when we got out of school, we would watch TRL. Nice. And one day we're watching TRL just like usual. And all of a sudden the TV turns off And we look up and around, and the AC's running and the rest of the lights are on, but the TV and the cable box turned off. And then the cable box turned on, and it was flashing 000. And this is an old school Time Warner cable box with just the dot matrix screen on it.
Good old
and it went 000, 001, 2, 3, 4, and started counting faster and faster all the way to 999. And when it hit 999, it did a weird circular pattern with the dot matrix and turned off. And then the TV turned back on to TRL. And then crazy. 2 weeks later, we're sitting outside of her house and her parents are gone for the weekend. And we have friends in the backyard and we're hanging out doing nefarious teenage things. And no one's in her house. But all of a sudden, the back porch light comes on and we're freaking out because we're, drinking and smoking, doing things teenagers aren't supposed to be doing. And the back door opens, lets her cat out, and the back door closes. And so, of course, we hide all the stuff. We run and we start looking around and checking, seeing if it's her older brother to check on us. There was nobody in that house. We go back, we sit down, the door opens again and lets the cat back in.
My goodness.
And so I had experienced this stuff before. And I think that, I don't know what it is with me, but these kind of spirits, I feel like they know that there's certain people who recognize them and see them for what they are. Mm-hmm. And they kind of show themselves. Yeah. Because when I worked at the Driscoll Hotel, well, that was crazy. That was just, that place is infested. And that's not just with spirits. That's with some very demonic energy.
Tell us about it.
Well, the Driscoll was the original state capital of Texas. And if you know anything about the government and about the Masons and what they worship and what they do, there's some really dark shit.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon my language.
Yep.
But I worked in the bar and the grill. And the bar was interesting because the old saloon that dated back to the 1800s was originally above where the current bar lies today. And there's an old alley access way for women of the evening. Those were the only women allowed in saloons back then. Mm-hmm. And that ended up being used as the hotel kind of storage area for extra plates, extra glassware, all sorts of decorations, just hotel stuff. Every time I had to go into that room, there was a screaming voice inside of my head and just every ounce of my body saying, get out of here. You don't belong here. You need to leave. And I've been a Christian my whole life.
Wow.
And that room definitely did not want certain types of people in there. And when I first started working there, my buddy told me, when you go in, just go in, grab what you need, and go out. And he was right. One of the funniest things that ever happened to me there, I was opening up the bar, and you have one of those giant rings of keys. Have you ever seen like a hotel ring of keys? They're ridiculous. Yep. Like 50 keys for 50 different locks. And you had to have it nearby when you're opening the bar because you had to get in and out of all sorts of stuff. Well, this little trickster spirit working in the bar would always move the keys on you. And it didn't just happen to me. It happened to every bartender who worked there. You just kind of got used to it. And you would keep the keys, within reaching distance of wherever you were working. And as soon as you looked away and did something else, you would look up and it'd be on the other side of the bar in the wait station, where you have to walk outside of the bar all the way around and grab them. And then, of course, doors opening on their own. People would hear things. While I was there one day, this was hilarious. I was talking to my buddy from security. Some people checked into the hotel and they were very rude to the bellman and to the front desk. They had a bad flight and they were very late for dinner. And so after being very rude to the bellman and the front desk, they put their luggage right inside the front door of their hotel room and then ran off to dinner late. Well, when they came back to their room, all of the belongings of their luggage were thrown all over the room, everywhere. And they were furious. And of course, they went to security and as a very, very secure hotel because very high roller VIPs stay at that place.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody had been on that floor or even come close to their room the entire time they were at dinner, the entire time they were away. Nobody went in and out. They had the key card and the access codes and everything like that. As soon as those people realized that that was the case, they checked out immediately. They knew they had FAFO'd.
That's incredible. That's crazy. Wow. I got to look into the history of that hotel. It sounds like there's a lot of good stuff going on down there.
Oh, it's good. It's a lot deeper than just the happy-go-lucky spirits that inhabit that place. I mean, just while I worked there over 2 years, there were 3 suicides in the rooms.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it's really sad.
Wow. That's horrible.
But there's something really dark about that place, and you sense it. You sense it when you go in there. If you're any sort of sensitive to these sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I know that feeling. That's crazy, man. Well, thank you so much for calling in. Those are great stories.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you guys, and I've been listening to your show since the beginning. I'm glad you're on every night now, Shane.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Take care, guys.
You too.
Have a good night, man.
That's wild. I used to work at a little hotel, like with these it was like a little like boutique hotel that like rich people would go to in New York, and there was a room upstairs. There's like maybe 4 or 5 rooms there, and there was a room that a man would rent out like every year. And the story was he was having an affair with the ghost in that room. Everyone like knew he was coming there to be with the ghost. He believed there was a ghost in that room, some lady. And he spent some weekends with that ghost. And I don't think he tipped very well. Ridiculous. But that was a weird, cool hotel. Do we have anyone else?
There are more people than we'll be able to get to in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so I wish I could get to everybody before midnight, but I want to make sure we have enough time with everybody. So for those we don't get to tonight, I am very sorry, and I hope you come back tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Thursday?
Tomorrow is Thursday already.
That's crazy.
We're almost through the first week.
That's crazy. So hopefully, guys, who we don't get to tonight, will call back tomorrow, and we'll try to get you guys up front. So since let's get maybe 1 or 2 more in.
I was going to say, I want to get Michael in here because I meant to get him in last time, and I screwed that up.
Yeah. Let's get him in.
Do you want to address this Louisiana thing really quick?
I'll wait till after. I like to make sure we get as many in as possible, but
okay.
Because the Louisiana thing's it won't take that much time.
All right, so let me try this again. Hopefully we get him this time.
I just want to talk about fake clouds a little bit. I won't do too much. Like I could do 2 hours on fake clouds, but I only need a little bit of time tonight.
Michael, sorry about the wait, brother. Welcome to the show. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
He might be muted.
Oh. If you can hear us, unmute yourself, please. Oh, no.
Hello.
There he is.
Hello.
What's up, brother?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can. Welcome to the show.
Oh, man. Awesome. Hey. So I am new to this show. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Loving the content so far.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
I guess, well, you guys were talking about a lot of spiritual stuff, and I'm from New York City, so I think this kind of mixes in with everything.
Cool.
Like where I grew up out in Brooklyn, and there's a huge I guess you could say like Hispanic, indigenous community, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't really hear you guys. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, it's all good.
I can't really hear you.
Can you?
Hold on one moment.
Well, I'll talk a little while you try to adjust the volume, but you're making me a little nostalgic for New York. I lived in Brooklyn for a few years, sort of near the Verrazano Bridge.
There we go.
Sweet. So Hispanic people in Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah. All right. So there's this religion out there called Santeria. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I grew up in that religion.
Okay.
Right? It was like the craziest thing in the world. Like, I'm talking animal sacrifice. I'm talking, I don't know if they really thought it was, but there was like possession. Like people acted like they were possessed.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's crazy, dude. When I was a kid, like there's a lot of rituals you have to go through. Like I didn't really know my dad was in this stuff, right? And he was like deep in it. And so I lost my mom like really young. So my dad kind of like took over, you know?
Right.
And so he started dragging me into this shit. Excuse my language, I'm sorry.
It's all
He
good.
started dragging me into this stuff.
Yep.
Now, in this thing, like you got to get like scarification, right? So like when I was a kid, they like cut little crosses into my chest with a knife.
Right.
I'm like, yo, wild, bro. Like I'm dead. And like I was young. I didn't know, like, you know, I didn't know this was like some next level wild shit.
It's just how it goes. This is what your dad's doing. You're going along with it.
Crazy. They they would like, you know, cut the heads off of chickens and like pour the blood on these things they called calderos, right? Which are like basically like, you know, like a witch's cauldron.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's sick, dude.
I've seen
And they
them.
would fill it with like feathers and dirt and knives and like different things like a railroad, like what is it, like those big spikes?
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, don't
And
they?
they
It's just like
and
it's
it
like black
represented,
magic.
like these different like spirits and deities that they worshipped. It was crazy.
Did you ever have to do anything like wild, like sacrifice wise, with cutting the heads off chickens?
So one time, my dad, I didn't personally, I had to hold a chicken, and my dad like cut the head off of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so part of the ritual is like they got to put it down on the floor in front of this like cauldron, right? And bleed it onto the cauldron.
Yep. Yeah.
And then like step on the carcass while saying some crazy stuff. I don't even know.
Oh yeah, dude. I've been to some bodegas in Brooklyn that definitely sell Santeria stuff. Even the chickens.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you've seen the crazy idols. It's like,
oh yeah, the candles. You know, all those things.
oh yeah. Yeah, crazy stuff. And these dudes, like, I've been to like some of these like huge, like they have like these drum meetings or whatever. And like, and this is all when I was probably like 15 years old, bro.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, I didn't think nothing of it really. Like I was just like, this is kind of like what's going on. But like these people, like they would like be in these drum circles and like get possessed and shit and start like licking people.
Wow.
And they called it like it was like a blessing almost, like if the they got possessed and then they would like lick you or like hit you with feathers or some weird shit. Like yeah.
At what point did you realize that this is not like other people's lives?
Oh man. So like I guess when I started hitting high school, right? I started talking to my friends about this stuff. They're like, yo, that's wild, bro. Like like there's crazy stuff.
Yeah,
You have to, so like when they were like initiating me, because you have to go through these stages over time, right?
Okay, yep.
So you do the first stage was called like being scratched, right? That's the cuttings, right? And then they make you dress in all white for like extended periods of time, like months.
Wow.
And then like there was this one shit that freaked me the fuck out, because they have like these rooms or like a closet where they'll have all their artifacts and shit with, you know, like the feathers and blah blah blah, right?
Bones.
And like I had to like sleep like in the room of artifacts as like a rite of passage in a sense and shit.
Ugh.
It was insane, bro.
That's insane.
Dude, I can't even, dude, I can't even tell you the craziest shit. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I think like, all right, I'm a Christian, right? So like, but like, I don't like, is it, they really get possessed, or people like really believe in their stuff so much?
I think it could be both.
Like it becomes them. I don't even know.
I think it could be both.
That's totally a thing, man.
Yeah,
it is totally a thing. You see people all over the world that, you know, cults and stuff like that have committed mass suicides in the name of their gods and things like that, and it's all because they really, really, really believe that they are going to meet this figure, whoever he is that they worship.
Yep. Yeah. It's very interesting.
They believe they get like power from this. Like they literally think, I guess it's like in a sense, like almost like voodoo and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they have like a evil form of it called brujeria.
That's right.
Right. And so like that's like the evil dark side of it, where they like cast spells to like put bad omens on people, or like they'll like cast spells to like they trick people and get like people give them money and to like read their future and like tell them, oh, if you sacrifice a rooster, then you'll be able to pay your bills.
Right. Of course.
I don't know, bro.
Did you at one point have to tell your dad like I'm not doing this anymore, or like how'd that go down?
Yeah, bro. There was like when after that whole ordeal with the closet situation, right? I was already like, I'm like, this is getting a little out of hand here.
Yeah.
And then like the last day, you have to go through like a penance ceremony. It's not like humiliation ceremony, but like a penance ceremony where like you're in a corner and they're like screaming, chanting, and people are walking by and they slap you in the back mad fucking hard.
Really? With their hands or like canes?
Like no, like with their hands, or like with like palm leaf.
Okay, that's kind of what I was picturing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But like some of the men would be a little, they want to throw their fucking weight around and shit, so they want to, be a little brute with it. But the ladies would be, nicer about stuff or whatever. But like, yeah, man, during that whole thing, when that proceeding was going on, something told me like this is not right. Like right then and there, it was like definitive.
Yeah.
And it came to me, I'm like, yo, I started to realize like why people are into this because of the penance. It's probably a lot of people that feel like they have stuff to make up for in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to do all this sacrificing and penance paying, like, it's
absolutely.
like trying to make up for misdeeds. They have to personify like penance, in so many ways. And that's not me, dude. Like I'm more Christ-like, bro. I'm like a little kitty cat.
I hear that. Is your dad still around? Is your dad still around?
My dad's still alive. Thank God that he found Christ.
Oh, amazing.
In a Christian form, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And well, he had a stroke, but that I feel like that's part of like having that kind of lifestyle that they were in. I feel like that shit was just mad negative all around.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't think I remember, like, if I'm remembering this right, like Christ was supposed to be the last sacrifice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like if you're sitting there sacrificing the idols, you're like literally blaspheming in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
he's the sheep. Christ is the sheep, So in the Old Testament, they're sacrificing like the pure, sheep, and that is reflected in the New Testament as Christ. So you're not supposed to do anything. There's no other idols to be sacrificing to or for or whatever. If you're a Christian, but there's all these different offshoots of Christianity that do that. I even think there's some Santeria stuff that's connected to Christianity. I could be wrong. It might be.
Yeah,
others.
they are Christian in nature.
Yeah,
like it's not like they don't believe in God.
Right.
They do follow the saints, but then they go like even deeper into like what they call muertos, which is like their dead guardians, and they go into like old African indigenous spirits and Native American. It's very like eclectic in a sense. Like it's very broadly encompassing.
It's
like
a bunch of different cultures.
Got a lot of different aspects of African and Catholicism.
Yep.
It's very crazy.
Man, that was wild. If you ever if you ever remember other stories, man, call back. We'd love to talk to you some more about this or whatever else you've gone through. That's wild. That's great. Shout out to Brooklyn. You still in Brooklyn?
I live in Ridgewood. It's like the borderline. It's the best part. It's like the only safe place to live in New York right now.
Dude, New York is crazy. I haven't been there in a while, but I grew up in New York, and
it's getting a little bit better, man. But it's pretty wild. It's just the homeless thing. The homelessness is outrageous because We don't have any kind of mental health facilities out here.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
So that a lot of them, like, yeah, if you're in the subway, bro, you'll see like full on like shanty towns almost. Like,
oh man,
that's actually like I was actually out there with Tim a few weeks ago, and we were staying at a hotel, and right in front they had the kind, they have the kind of sewer passages and the grates that run over the sidewalk. And there was just a guy down there just screaming at the top of his lungs for, I want to say, 25 straight minutes. Like, I was outside smoking, and I'm just like, what in the hell is coming from this subway? Yeah. And it's just a guy down there just losing his mind. And I'm like, man, that's got to be like just a homeless guy or some, religious fanatic or something down there.
It's like, honestly, to tell you the truth, bro, it's scary, bro. Like, I couldn't imagine like being like a 5'4", 130-pound soaking wet lady, like going home
trying to go home,
bro, because like
it's bad.
It's terrifying, dude.
Bad.
I'm like a grown man. I'm like average like 5'9", 180, 190 pounds or whatever. But like, dude, it's terrifying, bro. Like, there's crazy, insane people.
Yo. New York
in the subway.
New York right now kind of reminds me of the scene from the Ghostbusters when they release all the ghosts back into the city. And it gets it gets
and
crazy.
The music is playing. And
we're there. Yeah, we're there. Man, well,
you ever seen that? There's a documentary about like the people that live in the subway tunnels. They build like towns. There's a documentary.
I've heard about that. Yeah, I want to look into that. Yeah, I want to look into that. I've seen that around for sure. Man,
you gotta look it up. They have like built up with like wood, and they have like apartments almost that they built. And they jack into the electric system. It's crazy.
Wow. That's amazing.
You got to see this documentary. I forgot what it's called, like Dark City or something. Not like the old movie.
Oh, yeah. That's a great movie. That is a good movie, though. That's a good movie. Well, thank you for calling in, man. That was incredible. And please.
You guys are the best, man.
Awesome.
I'm so glad you guys are on. I love your time slot now. It works perfectly.
Sick.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you guys for doing what you do.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you. And call back, man, anytime.
Oh, bro, definitely. Have a good night.
You too.
Take care.
Bye. Incredible. One of the last things I experienced in a New York City subway was a man coming onto the subway and telling me and my wife he was going to cut our heads off, like John the Baptist. He had a really cool voice. He sounded like Gil Scott-Heron, but yeah, that was wild. She was really pregnant at that point. I was like, I might have to take someone out. And then, the city started to fall apart. Now it was like 2015, 2016. And it's definitely gotten worse. But our old governor, genocidal maniac by the name of Governor Cuomo, is now running for mayor. So I hope New York City gets a better mayor. They've had a tough run of it, but I love my home state. So I'm sorry for everyone we didn't get to. I really hope you call back tomorrow. We'll try to get you in first. If you want to do that Louisiana thing really quick, we can end on some happy news.
Yeah.
It's not a long one. I voted to get rid of fake clouds. And chemtrails, for those who don't know, are just one type of fake cloud. When I say fake clouds, everyone's like, he's just talking about chemtrails, and they're really just contrails. But contrails are different than chemtrails. Contrails are the small little tails that are evaporating behind a plane up in the sky. Chemtrails are the ones that stretch out across the sky and mutilate it with whatever weird stuff they're putting in it, like pharmaceuticals to wash our brains. So Louisiana politicians overwhelmingly passed a bill to ban chemtrails, aka fake clouds. And this article in their headline, this says, which don't actually exist, but they do. They do in all sorts of ways, whether they're seeding the clouds, whether they're dropping some pharmaceuticals on us. And on a whole other episode, we can go into the entire hierarchy of fake clouds that I have in my brain. But I'll read some of this for you. The Louisiana House of Representatives recently passed a bill to ban chemtrails. Not only that, the bill passed by a large margin, 58 to 32. Much like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster and other myths, chemtrails are something that only exists in the minds of those who want to believe.
Ooh.
I'm going to call Louisiana. I have words for Louisiana right now. Whoever wrote this article, actually. No, Louisiana I'm happy with. It's this writer. Unlike Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and other myths, politicians usually don't create laws to ban them. Such is not the case in the state of Louisiana, however. That's because late last week, Louisiana lawmakers spent the government's time and money to do something very, very, very important, according to me. They passed Senate Bill 46 in the State House. The bill, which aims to prevent agencies from using chemtrails to conduct weather modification experiments, now moves on to the Senate, where they too will spend the government's time and money. Okay, that's funny. Former Sopranos actress Dre DiMatteo. That's hilarious that they mentioned her. I guess she's talking about chemtrails. But anyway, they are literally modifying the weather. Like, that's not a secret. I don't know why this is such a Can you go up and see who wrote this article? I'm gonna have to harass them on Twitter.
Douglas Charles.
Oh, two first names.
Yeah.
Douglas Charles. You just don't understand. This guy is obviously funded by Big Cloud, which is behind a lot of the mutilation of our beautiful sky. They've been modifying the weather forever. I mean, Operation Popeye was our government seeding the clouds over Vietnam to create a crazier, longer monsoon season to wash out the Viet Cong from their tunnels. And we do it out west all the time now. And they've got all Saudi Arabia. They've got a ton of fake clouds making it rain. Shout out to Cash Money Records. But, like, this is a good thing. And this writer clearly wants people to be sick with what's in the sky. So this is not the only state doing this. There are other ones. And if you just want to pull up really quick that video I sent you of the cloud machine, this is just one type of cloud, fake cloud thing that we have. There's all types. And one day we'll go through the whole thing. I'd love to talk about fake clouds. It's a very real scourge. But I saw this. You guys might have seen this before. They're making clouds. And this is just one way of making clouds. Let's watch this monstrosity.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest.
Oh. Just don't make clouds. Just let clouds be clouds.
Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable.
It's acid rain, actually. This guy
NASA's
lost
playing
all his
God.
limbs after this
It's
video.
making its own weather.
Oh, NASA. You saw that real quick?
Yeah.
NASA did it. Okay, we'll revisit fake clouds at some point. There's a lot to break down with that whole tragedy that they've been doing to our skies, but for another day. Tomorrow's Thursday. It's our last show of the week, and I hope the people we couldn't get to tonight, I apologize again. I hope you come back tomorrow, and we'll do it all over. 10 o'clock. Same time. And did we have any comments or anything we missed? Or anything we should
No, I'm pretty sure I caught up to everything.
Sick. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Brandon, where can they find you?
You can find me at Brando Inverted on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget to stay weird.
That's right. And you can find me online at Shane Cashman. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Later.